All right, so that was chapter 2 of Anne of Green Gables. Let's talk about it. So I think that we're mostly comfortable with the vocabulary in this chapter. There's just two phrases I want to discuss really quickly. All and sundry is a phrase that just means everybody. So if you say you're greeting all and sundry on the road, it just means you greet everybody that you see on the road. And then this child says that all her worldly goods are in this carpet bag. And what that means is that everything she owns in the entire world is in this bag that she can carry. I also love this quote that she says when they're talking for the first time, and she says, "Isn't it splendid to think of all the things there are to find out about? It just makes me feel glad to be alive. It's such an interesting world." And I totally agree with that. It's amazing. You can learn anything about anything these days. And this child is already so excited to learn and find out everything that she can find out about everything, which I love about her. So I've got some things I wanted to kind of discuss from our descriptions. There's really only two characters in this whole chapter. There's the orphan child and Mr. Cuthbert. So the first time we meet the orphan child, she's at the train stop and her clothes are described as ugly and dirty and too small, and she is very thin and very pale. So using these descriptions, we can kind of get an idea of what she looks like and how well she's been taken care of at the orphan asylum. Her clothes don't fit and she's dirty, which are usually signs of somebody not being very well taken care of. Now, everything Mr. Cuthbert says, he says shyly. What does that tell us about him? Is he somebody who can walk into a room and proudly say what's on his mind? Does he kind of whisper or mumble when he talks? How does that word, shyly, help us to understand who Mr. Cuthbert is as a person and how this next scene might go? L.M. Montgomery uses so many descriptive words. She talks about all the colors she can see and the smells and the flowers and the mist rolling in over the hills. And it really helps set the scene and help us imagine exactly what this girl and Mr. Cuthbert are seeing on their drive from the train station to Green Gables. So I want you to think about how you would describe your favorite place in the whole entire world the way L.M. Montgomery does. What sort of colors and smells and things can you see? Think about all of that, write it down in a journal, and then tell somebody who has never been to your favorite place before everything you can think of, and make it to where they can picture it perfectly in their minds just based on your description. So this orphan, which, by the way, did you guys notice that we still don't know her name? She's an orphan girl. That's all we've got. Orphan girl, long red hair. That's not really a name, is it, Mr. Cuthbert? But this orphan is totally amazed by the avenue of apple trees. She has to hop out of the buggy and take it all in and look at it and say, "Oh my gosh, this is the most amazing, most beautifulest thing I have ever seen in my life." Have you ever been so surprised and so happy that you just had to stop everything you were doing just to take it in and feel it in your heart? Write it down. Explain how something can make you feel so crazy and tingly and amazing all over, and describe it in a way that makes us just as excited about it as you. All right, let's recap what happened in this chapter. Mr. Cuthbert goes to pick up an orphan boy, but it turns out it's an orphan girl. And they drive back to Green Gables, and she talks a lot. I don't know if you guys noticed that most of that chapter was just this girl talking her head off the whole time. She has a lot of questions. She's asking questions, she's commenting on everything she sees, and Mr. Cuthbert kind of likes it, but he also knows they can't keep her because they needed an orphan boy to help them on their farm. But he doesn't know how to tell her that, so he's going to let his wife, Mrs. Cuthbert, break the bad news to her. What do you guys think? How do you think that's going to go? All right, we'll find out tomorrow in chapter 3. See you then.